All right, cool. We good. We live. We live. We live. All right, bet. So, welcome back to Keep It Thorough Thursdays. Um, episode 65.
65.
And today we're going to be talking about creating effective ad campaigns. A lot of the examples we're going to give on today's episode is going to be based around using a platform like Facebook ads that services Facebook and Instagram, as well as they have like some ad partners where your ads can show on like some additional websites and stuff like that. But the concepts that we're going to discuss in this episode can be applied to Google ads or TikTok ads or wherever you're running ads. The concepts are definitely can be replicated on all those platforms and amongst any business, regardless of the category, right? Whether it's real estate or e-commerce, right? So with all that said, it's your boy E Double.
Yeah. What's up, good people? Cedric Lavelle here, and as usual, we appreciate you all for tuning in to Keep It Thorough Thursdays, where we just give you the real behind business, health, money, and self-development. As E was just saying, um, with ads, it's with I would say just based on our experiences, being able to effectively utilize ads and campaigns and um, creating, I guess you would say, visuals and context that really engages and attracts an audience. Man, it's been pivotal. It's been highly enlightening for sure, but it's also given us a very clear picture on what our audience looks like and how we can more effectively engage. And I say all that to say, if you have a business, if you're considering being an entrepreneur, if you're starting a small business, whatever the case may be, really understanding ad campaigns will be impactful for your business, for your future growth, for your success. So hopefully the information that we provide today can be useful, and that you can potentially learn something that you may have not known. Because obviously, with every episode, it's always our objective to give as much context and as much information that we can, just to share some of our own personal experiences and things that we've learned and things that we've researched. That way, you can be better suited to lead your business and be more effective as an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying?
No, most definitely. So building the route, if I can talk tonight,
Get it out,
building
man. You
the
got it.
right foundation. Okay, building the right foundation. So, what does that mean, right? So, when you go to set up um, an ad campaign, right? The last word there is campaign, but there's multiple layers to building an ad campaign. So
Correct.
when we talk about building the right foundation, we're talking about those layers, right? So said, how do you build that foundation and start converting with these campaigns? Like
Absolutely.
what are those layers, right?
So basically, when you start with your ad campaign, right? You want to have a specific goal and an objective. What is it that you're looking to achieve with your campaigns, right? So, man, I told you I was gonna try not to say right, and I said it.
No, no, hey,
You
you
just
the
gave
only
myself
one. You the only
everything.
one who know you said that.
I know it, but anyway, so whether it's achieving brand awareness, whether you're wanting to generate more leads, increase sales, drive traffic to an online platform, or drive traffic to a store, if you're wanting to educate your audience about a product or a service or something unique that you're offering, those are your objectives and what specifically you're looking to do with your campaign, right? So whenever you start a campaign, you want to know which direction you're moving into. You want to know what it is specifically that you're wanting to accomplish and what that looks like for you. Then, once you've identified that, this is where it goes into some of the layers. So from there, you're looking at your ad sets, right? In which your ad sets, that's going to allow you to get very specific and have targeted criteria. So whether that be demographics and you're looking at age, gender, and education, whether that be location and it's your, a zip code or a state or a certain city, or if you're looking at interest in behaviors and you're wanting people who have certain purchasing habits, or if it's something with a particular hobby that they may have, or certain likes or certain music that they're listening to. So if you wanted to get very specific in that standpoint, that's where the assets come in. And then you can look at custom audiences and understanding how people may interact with your brand in a certain way. So whether that be through an email subscription or certain links that they click on, or a certain web page, not a web page, but a certain page on your website that they visit. Or with a lookalike audience, if it's people that you already have as existing customers and you want to make a lookalike audience to attract people that are similar to them. Your assets allows you to do that. So that really enables you to get very specific, very detailed with the way that you target it. And I know we've said it in past episodes as well too. When it comes to your target audience, um, you want to try to be as specific as you can. Right now, a lot of times in the beginning, you don't really know who it is that you're going to attract, but in an effective business strategy, you have an idea of your ideal customer, your ideal audience, who it is that you believe that can be interested in your products or in your services, right? And that's something that you want to do. You want to be able to qualify customers and an audience and qualified people, because you want people that's interested in your brand, right? So before you even start to, get very detailed with what you're trying to achieve, you definitely want to know who it is that you're trying to attract as well too.
So
And we
I want to
go
add
ahead,
on to that
bro.
said. So the reality is this: when you first start a business, um, you have very little data to go off of, right? So to start out, you going off of what you envision, right?
Right.
What your
Absolutely.
plans are for your business, right? So going in, the more detailed you are with that plan, the more detailed, like kind of like your initial blueprint will be, right?
Correct. Yep.
And when we talk about marketing, right, which a lot of people get the two confused. Marketing and branding are
Two
completely
totally
separate
different
things,
things.
right? And right here, we're talking about marketing. Branding is how you, um, you know, the visual aspects of your brand. How you visually represent your brand. So your logo, your website, the verbiage you use,
The
like all
verbiage,
of
yeah.
those
The
types of things, right?
communication
Your
aspect, yep.
communication, right? Whereas your marketing is now you having ads that mirror that brand persona that you want to put out there, right? So it's the actual ads that run on Facebook or on a commercial or billboard. That's marketing, right? So now once you actually start marketing for a new business and you go in with that blueprint, think of it as like your first set of revisions, right? The
Yeah.
business isn't finalized. And as you start to market, you'll start collecting data and analyze data, which we'll talk about in a lot more detail very shortly here. But as you do that, you start to edit what you initially thought, right? Like you may have thought that your target audience was males and females between the ages of 26 to 50, right? And
Right.
then as you start to run these ads and calculate or analyze the data, you realize like, hey, my actual target audience is a little lower age than that. It's actually 18 to 50, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you start to make adjustments. But what said mentioned is 100% accurate. You want to go in with a thorough um blueprint, right? Or idea of
Idea,
of
yeah.
who you're trying to target and what you think your target audience is, because it'll kind of give you kind of a head, like, I don't want to say a head start necessarily, but it'll help you when you're creating these types of campaigns and things like that, versus if you just go in completely blind.
Completely blind. Yeah, absolutely. And then the last aspect of those layers, like he was talking about, is just the creative aspect. And so with the ads that you're creating, the visual, the, like he was saying with the branding, the communication, the way that you speak about your brand and the marketing messages that you're putting out there, that's also a very vital component of setting up your ad campaign, because that's the way, I guess you could say, that's the language of your brand. That's the way that people are going to understand more about you, and what it is that you represent, and what it is that you're looking to attract them to, right? And so with doing those things, that allows you to create an effective ad campaign in the beginning part of it. But as those ad campaigns are released and you begin to collect data, then from there you're able to analyze and adjust and do a lot of other additional things that can allow you to optimize um, your ad campaign. So real quick, three I was gonna say three quick things that you want to know as it relates to ad campaigns. So one thing, ad campaigns are important for growth. And so if you're looking to accelerate your brand, if you're looking to grow your brand from a market share, from customer engagement, if you're looking to establish your brand presence, ad campaigns will do that for you, right? It's going to allow you to attract the audience and attract the consumers, the clients, the customers that you are going to need in order to have a successful and running business. The next thing, ad campaigns will build your market presence. And so with effective ads and engaging with your audience and knowing what they need and speaking to certain pain points, that's going to allow you to have a market presence. And with your market presence, that's going to put you amongst your competition. And the more effective that you are with your ads and communicating with your audience, that's going to establish an even a strengthened presence. That's going to allow you to stand out and differentiate yourself amongst everybody else that's within your market. And then the last thing is, ad campaigns are going to also increase your sales and revenue. And so obviously with the business, you're going to want to make money. You know, at the end of the day, that's I'm gonna say that's what it's all about. But that's one of the goals of any for-profit, you know, company. They want to make money. They want to increase their sales. They want to have the revenue and be able to create a financially stable company. Ad campaigns will do that for you as well too. And there's a lot of other additional things that ad campaigns are effective for, but those are three very key things. But yeah, so with all that being said, the most important thing, and EU alluded to it, the most important thing that you're going to get from ad campaigns is data, right? And with that data, that's going to enable you to learn so much more about your audience, and then you can effectively position ads for a certain
Yeah.
group, right? And wherever they fall within that marketing strategy, you'll know how to speak to them and what can engage them in order to pull them in and create a loyal customer.
So bet before we move on to the next sub or the next slide, I want to hammer home this concept, because it's very important to understand how those three things work together, to create your ad campaigns, right? So all of those things that said just mentioned, you need all three. They're not like separate things, right? So a campaign is the very top level, right? And at that level, you'll set the budget, the objective, all of that stuff said, mentioned. So, what do you, say you're looking for traffic. You want to get as much traffic as you want, right? Now, Inside of those campaigns, you have the ad sets. So think of the campaign as the parent, right? And then you have the ad sets underneath. At that level, as said mentioned, is where you target, interests and other very important things, right? Um, you set the behaviors and locations for where the ads will be displayed, all those things. You can
Right.
have multiple ad sets inside of one campaign, right? And then underneath the ad sets are ads, right? So an ad set is a parent of an ad, right? And then you can have, and that's where the creative is. That's where the actual finished product. So when you go on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and you see an ad, that creative, that visual, that's the ad, right? And those live in ad sets. And you can have multiple ads in an ad set. So campaign, ad set, ad, all three work in unison,
Right.
right? So moving on to the
And real quick too, bro. And you want to have multiple ad sets and ads running simultaneously, and with that it's like A/B testing. You can see what it is that's effective and what's not, and then you can make adjustments as you go, which will allow you again to better market yourself and position your brand in front of the right people. So as E was just saying, like with assets and having multiple assets under a campaign and having multiple ads under the ad set, that's going to allow you to have a significant amount of data that you can really be effective with, and certainly optimize your brand as well too. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to the next slide, right? This one's titled Understanding Funnels. And now all of that information we just provided in the first slide, a lot of people don't understand those concepts when they first get involved in Facebook ads. Just understanding those concepts puts you ahead of the curve, right? Because a lot of people just go in there, they don't really understand this stuff. They just click around, might watch a couple YouTube videos, throw some money at it, hope it stick. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So understanding those concepts already will put you ahead of the game, right? Now, this is where you win the game. Forget just getting ahead of the game or getting in the game. This is where you win the game. Understanding funnels. Anybody who's worked in sales have heard the term funnels, sales funnels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you feed things into that funnel, right? And then it comes out, and you try, a lot of BS comes out, but then you get some good stuff out of there too. When it comes to um, marketing for businesses, there's three different funnels that you care about, right? There's a top level funnel, there's a middle funnel, and then there's a bottom funnel, right? And now the way you want to think about this is the top level funnel is your campaigns you're going to run to uh get new customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about this campaign that you'll create. So say we creating the campaign, it's going to be called top level funnel, right? And um this is where you're going to focus on getting new customers, right? So with a top level funnel, um you want to think about it as these are cold leads, right? Like these people don't know anything about your brand.
That's your brand.
These are
Yeah.
people who've never heard of you before, never seen you before. And this is very important, right? Because if you don't generate, as a brand new business, if you're not generating a traffic of potential customers, then like, how are you going to sell anything, right? Like if people don't know you exist, right? Like your friends and family ain't gonna sustain you. You might get a nice little boost out the gate, but that's not gonna sustain no business. So where do you get these new customers, right? This is where you get these new customers. You get them from your top level funnel. So how do you do that, right? In that top level funnel, what you're going to do is you're going to create multiple ad sets, right? Now, you can do interest campaign clusters as an ad set. And what is an interest campaign cluster, right? So, as we mentioned in the ad set, you can target an audience, right? So, you target interests and or behaviors. So inside of Facebook ads, when you go into your ad set, you're going to see an option for audiences that you've already created, right? Which we'll talk about that in a sec. You'll see an option for interest. So you can literally target people who like the Kendrick Lamar page, right? You can target people who like cars. You can target people who like, whatever interest you can think of. Now, there's not an unlimited number of options in there, but there's a ton of options that you can find to match your you know interest that aligns with your brand, right?
All right.
So in that campaign cluster, that's what you're focused on. On the interest campaign cluster, you're just going to set up an ad set, target some interest, and then your ads are gonna, if you're doing it the right way, your ads are gonna match that interest, right? So if you're targeting people who like cars, or whatever, hopefully your brand has something to do with cars, and then your ads are gonna have something to do with cars too, right?
Right. Right.
That's all working in unison. Your chances of finding people who are going to be interested in your brand rises significantly. Now, with that said, you can target interests that don't necessarily have to do with your brand, but that may contain people that also may be interested in your brand, right? So that's what interest campaign clusters are. Under that is now we'll create a new ad set, right? And we'll create a lookalike audience. So like what is a lookalike audience, right? So what a lookalike audience is in Facebook, you can go to audiences and you could say, hey, you can create an audience for people who visited your website in the last 30 days. Now, the time frame you can set to whatever you want. It could be the last 5 days, it can be the last 10 days, it can be the last 30 days, it can be the last 365 days, whatever. And what Facebook is going to do is everybody who's interacted, who visited your website in the last 365 days, is going to put all of them into this audience, right? So now, if you're a brand new business, that might not be a large number. Say that might be, we'll just say 500 people, right? Now you can create a lookalike audience off of those individuals and your audiences, right? So you can say, hey, Facebook, create a lookalike audience off of my website visitors. So what Facebook does is it looks at all of the individuals inside of that, those 500 individuals inside of that website visitor audience, and it says, okay, what are common amongst these people? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if y'all know this, but Facebook has whole lot of data points on all of their users, through tracking with cookies and all of that stuff. And I don't know if you guys realize, but on the iPhone they made a huge change, a couple years back, where now when you go into apps it asks you explicitly if you want to be tracked or not, and you can say yes or no. I highly recommend that you actually say yes in apps that you care about, because it'll allow people to properly target market you about things that you actually care about, as opposed to you seeing a bunch of random ads. People get freaked out about being tracked, but like you got GPS on your phone with Google Maps and all that all the time. Like you know what I mean? You're not hard to be found if somebody want to find you. But but yeah, so you create a lookalike audience. This is powerful because now it's gonna take those data points of those 500 people, and then Facebook's going to go out and create an audience of 1 million to 2 million people that match those similar traits of those people, and then you
Mm-hmm.
can run your ad. You put them into a ad set, and then you can target those folks. Still a cold lead, but now we getting a little warmer though. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Um, and then final on in examples of lookalike audiences would be like people who visited your website in the last however many days, people who recently purchased from you in the last however many days, people who interacted with your Facebook page, your Instagram page, all of those various different types of things, right? Those are different types of lookalike audiences. Now, the last type of campaign cluster you can create for an ad set would be a mixed campaign cluster. Now, what this would be is you'd have multiple ad sets, but you'd have a mix of lookalike audiences as well as interest slash behavior audiences, right? Or ad sets, right? And you put those together, and then you market that way, right? So to go back through top of funnel, which again, this is for generating brand new
Brand new
customers who
customers.
know nothing about your business. You can do interest campaign clusters, lookalike audience campaign clusters, and mixed campaign clusters, right? And you actually really want to be running all three of these to improve the amount of data that you're capturing, right? And have a wider reach to be more effective with your marketing when you're running ads, right? So now that's top funnel. That's how we get new customers, right? So now let's go to the next level, the middle funnel. Now we're dealing with warm leads, right? These are warm leads. These are people who've actually interacted with you, right? So
Mhm.
now, as I mentioned earlier, how you can create an audience of people who visited your website in the last 30 days. If they haven't purchased, you want to retarget those individuals. They're familiar with your brand. They know who you are, right? So their brand confidence, right? Their you know, they're going to have a little bit more confidence in you. So if you're selling a product or something like that, you want to retarget them. So examples of ad sets that you can create in your middle of the funnel campaign is people who've Facebook engagers in however many days, Instagram engagers in however many days, 7 days, 30 days, whatever, website visitors in the last however many days, 7 days, 14, 30, whatever, right? And these are a lot warmer um leads, as I mentioned. And what those ads will look like is you show products, right? And
Mhm.
then you do things to try to build trust with those individuals because they already kind of know who you are. So you may run an ad that targets them, and then you have customer testimonials, right, of people who've already interacted with your brand, right? And things like that, right? So those are warm leads, and that's the middle of the funnel. You typically are going to get more conversions and more sales from the middle of the funnel than you are the top of the funnel, right? Because you're dealing at the top with people who don't know who you are, right? But then now once they interact, they know who you are and they get filtered into that middle funnel, right? So now those are warm leads. You're going to be, more likely to purchase. And now we get to the bottom of the funnel, which is where typically you're going to generate the most of your sales and where this is the bread and butter right here, right? So these are people who not only interacted, but they showed an intent to purchase something,
Mhm.
right? So these folks, you can create audiences of people who added the cart in the last 7 days, right? People who added the cart in the last 14, people who added the cart in the last 21. Now, what a good practice is okay, in the last 1 to 6 days, I'm gonna retarget the people who added to the cart, just saying, "Hey, did you forget something?" We've all received emails or ads on Facebook about abandoned carts, right? About,
Yeah.
"Hey, did you forget something? Like, did you got something in your cart?" Uh, very normal practice. All businesses do it. Now, at that 7 to 14 day mark, you may want to retarget them now and give them an incentive, right? Because after them 6 days, they didn't buy anything. So now you may want to give them a coupon code. You may want to retarget those individuals and give them a 10% off, a 15% off, real good practice. And then as they get further out, you got to kind of sweeten the deal because now it's been 2 weeks, it's been 30 days, they still didn't buy. Chances of them buying is very slim, right? I can't remember. I wish I had it in front of me. Said maybe you could pull it up real quick. The percentage of abandoned carts is extremely high. I think I want to say it's like somewhere between 70 and 80%, right? So most people who add the cart don't actually end up going to buy. And we're all guilty of it. I guarantee most people who watch this, who are watching this, who come back to watch this, have something in a shopping cart on some website right now somewhere. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's normal. We all do it. But so you want to take advantage of those people though, because they not take advantage of the opportunity with those people because they showed an intent to buy. So that's a warm lead, right? So yeah, so you want to look at people who added the cart. That's one thing. Another audience you can create is people who initialize checkout. So these are people who not only added it to their cart, but then they actually hit the checkout button and went to go put in their address, shipping details, credit card information, but they didn't complete. Now, why didn't they complete? Maybe once they seen the shipping amount and the taxes and everything, it was too much, right? Which again, you can retarget them with a coupon code that may give them, that may bring the price down to a more reasonable amount for them, where they feel more comfortable and make the purchase. So initialized carts, and then the last one, but not the least, because there's other audiences you can create. We can't cover every scenario, just the most common is if they view the product, right? And this is where you can create dynamic ads with Facebook, right? So say like in our situation, we sell these hats on our website, right? We can create an audience where if a person viewed a specific product, we can retarget them with that product, right? So, hey, seeing you viewed whatever, whatever, take 5% off your next purchase or whatever, however you want to word it, right? And then you want to create FOMO too, right? Only X amount left in stock. If be genuine, be realistic though. Don't make up stuff that's not true, because if you say only 5 left in stock and then now they go to the website and they try to buy 10 and it lets them, that's gonna mess with your, you know what I mean, your integrity. They might not want to work with
Integrity, yeah.
you. So be realistic with your intent, but limited quantities if you only got X amount of quantity. So build that FOMO where it's like, oh man, like they give me 15% off. They only got so many left. I actually really like it. Let me go grab that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so if they viewed the product. So let me recap. You got top of funnel, which is where you get your brand new customers. People never heard about your brand. These are cold leads. And then you target interest. You create lookalike audiences based off of people who have interacted. And then you can do a mix of both, where you got interest as well as lookalike audiences. Then you got the middle of the funnel, which is more warm leads. These are people who have actually engaged with your page. So maybe they like the post on Instagram or Facebook. Maybe they commented. Maybe they, added you as a friend. Or maybe they visited your website, right? So more warm. These people are familiar with your brand. You want to retarget these individuals because they have a higher likelihood of, it's a higher likelihood that you can convert them, right? And then bottom of the funnel, hot leads. You know what I mean? These people showed intent to buy. They showed that they were interested. Something just stopped them. So hurry up, do something to incentivize them to purchase while they're, while it's fresh on their mind, while they add it to while it's sitting in their cart, waiting to be purchased, right? So that really summarizes the sales funnels and how they work. And literally, this concept is what these multi-billion dollar business, multi-trillion dollars. We got Apples and Microsofts of the world that are worth
Yep.
trillions of dollars. And literally, this is what they use. This is what they use. They just scale it out major, right? A small business may have 3 campaigns. They may have a top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, couple ad sets running maybe $20 a day, something like that. Apple has 100 campaigns running, spending, I don't know, fifty
Crazy
thousand
amount of
dollars a
money.
day. You know what I mean? Like whatever. It's just at a much larger scale. But this concept is exactly what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing, and this is how you win. Now, as far as the effectiveness of this, right? People get into marketing and think that they throw some money at it, they market, you're gonna blow it out the out the water right away. And that's not how it works. Like as said mentioned, what this does is allows you to create data, right? You get a lot of data points and you have to build out those audiences. Like if you just started a business, you only have 30 people who visited your website and you create a lookalike audience, that lookalike audience isn't going to be that great because it's a very small sample of individuals and they may not even have that many things in common. And the reason for that is most of them might be your family members. So the only reason they went, it wasn't organic. They went there because they love you and they want to support you. So
Right.
now it's creating lookalike audiences off those individuals and they don't got much in common, right? Now, as you run these funnels like your interest campaigns, right? And you get organic traffic, right? Um, you're gonna collect more data and then you're gonna get more, people visiting and more traffic that feed into the middle funnels with the engagement, and then your lookalike audiences are gonna be a lot more solid. They're gonna be a lot more beneficial to the business because now those data sets that it uses to create those is going to have a lot larger sample size where it can create effective lookalike audiences that'll convert, right? So again, if you're spending $5-10 a day, this may take a little while. This may take a couple months. You know what I'm saying? This may take 2-3 months, and you probably will get some conversions in the meantime. But right now, it's gonna be an expense because you probably ain't gonna make that much money. Now, after X amount of after X amount of months and you build up the amount of people that are, the traffic that's
Engagement.
coming to your site, coming to your Instagram, coming to your Facebook page, then you'll start getting a lot more conversions, and then marketing won't be an expense anymore. It's an investment. You're spending $20 a day, but you're averaging $100 a day in sales. So you're netting $80. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the importance of it. But you got to be patient. A lot of people go in, throw money at it. Oh, I ain't getting no sales. It's not working. I'm done. Facebook ads is trash. Nah, don't work like that. You got to be patient, play the game. Now, if you spending $100 a day, you spending $1,000 a day, it's gonna speed up that time, right? Because $1,000 a day is going to be spread out and going to be able to reach way more people. So you're going to be able to collect that data a lot faster. And then, during that learning phase, and then you'll be able to, get results quicker. So, you got to spend money to make money. You know what I mean? It's one of those type of
Mm-hmm.
situations. But so what's the impact, right? Understanding each stage of marketing funnels allows a business to create effective and targeted marketing campaigns. By identifying where potential customers are in the funnel, a business can tailor its message and tactics to better engage and convert those customers. Optimizing each funnel stage is critical to the success of a business and should be addressed as often as needed. Once you create these sales funnels, the middle funnel and the bottom funnel, you're probably not going to adjust those too much, right? Unless you have something in there that's like a short-term promo, right? Your top funnel, you're going to constantly be tweaking that, right? Because you don't know what works. You don't know what interests work. So you want to run it, see what's working, see what's not working, um, and uh, take that data, create another one. You want to
Yeah.
see what's working, what's not working, take that data, create another one, and keep that going. What's working, let it keep doing it. Don't stop until it ain't working no more. Don't switch it up just for the sake of switching it up. You want to run these until they don't work no more. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And that's how it works. Now the middle funnel and the bottom funnel, as I mentioned, you can let them run. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the nature of how they're set up. They're repeatable, and it's targeting people from the top one that feeds into those other layers. So the top one is what you want to change a lot of the time, right? So moving on to the final section, successful ad positioning. 4 actions to take that are highly impactful. I'll let Said take the first two, and I'll take the last two.
Bet. So like E was just explaining when it with the marketing funnels, um, at each one of those stages, there's going to be a different approach that you're going to have to take to engage your audience because it's different types of traffic that you're interacting with. And once you understand, like we said in the beginning, once you understand your audience, what they need, what they're looking for, what their interest is, once you understand what's working and what's not working, you can continue to more effectively position your ads, right? And so one of the things that you're going to want to do, and all 4 of these things are just things that you're going to want to do consistently and just be aware of as you go through your ad campaign. So continuously analyzing data, and we can't stress that enough. Data is one of the most important things to have for any business because what data is going to tell you is going to tell you where your traffic is flowing from. It's going to tell you what's being effective. It's going to tell you what needs to be changed. It's going to tell you everything that you need to know about your business. And this isn't even just from a marketing standpoint. This is just data in general. Like data is one of the most significant things for a business, especially historical data, because then you can start looking at trends and when certain things begin to happen or when certain things change and transitions, and you can start positioning your brand in different ways and so on and so forth. But you're always going to want to analyze data. You're going to want to measure the performance of your ad campaigns, and then you're going to allow that data to identify what's working and what's not working. And as a very strategic business, you're going to make adjustments as needed. And then the next thing is you want to change your ad creative. So adjust your ad creative if needed by experimenting with different visuals, headlines, copy, call to actions to determine what resonates with your audience. So as we've been stating, in many cases, when you first start with doing ad campaigns, you may not know specifically what your audience wants to hear. If you do your research prior to building your company, if you look at other companies that may be similar to yours, people that may engage with that brand, if you look at some of the marketing tactics that other businesses use, and that's a very critical thing to do as well too. Look at some of these bigger businesses. Look at some of the way that they engage with their customers and what they saying, the verbiage that they use, how they position certain ads, what type of visuals that they use, because that allows you to take some of that information, gather the data that you see from that particular company, and you can implement that in your strategy, which will allow you to kind of have a little bit of a head start to a sense, right? You're not going into a situation just cold turkey and just throwing money at something and not getting the results that you want. So when you do that and you start creating your campaigns and you start creating the visuals and you start using your marketing language as time progresses, whatever changes that need to be made, you make those changes. You change the verbiage up. You change the way something sounds. You change up the tone. And just to be frank, with running any business, it's going to be an ongoing thing. Like this is never this process never stops. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
you're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna have to stay engaged with your brand because behaviors change, trends change, industries change, customers' wants and needs change. You may be creating different products and services, so you're going to have to adapt and adjust. You may be rebranding, and so some of the language and some of the concepts that you used in the beginning is going to have to be different, right? And so it's an ongoing process. And so as I was just saying, these particular things are going to be things that you're going to want to have to embrace and just get comfortable with, right? Because it's part of the process. It's part of the growth phase. It's part of the scaling phase. It's a part of just business in general. And so you may not be as knowledgeable, right? And so it may come to a point where you may contract somebody or pay somebody else, but even with doing that, you still want to be able to speak the language of your business, because no one should know your business better than you know your business. And no one knows the tone better than you know your tone in the audience. And so being able to even communicate that to somebody who you're asking for help from will also be effective as well too. So yeah, continuously analyze the data and then also change your ad creative whenever it's needed.
And then the final two is better your targeting. And now um your targeting is the most important at that top of the funnel, right? Because your targeting becomes easier as you move down the funnel because you're dealing with people who are familiar with your brand. They interacted in a certain way, so you know what to target, right? But when bringing in new customers, you got have to constantly better your targeting to kind of see what's working and what's not because you're not going to know, right? It's they're cold leads, right? So you want to constantly, adjust. Once you lock in on age, you can probably kind of leave that alone, right? But you want to consistently focus on the interests, right, in behaviors, as we mentioned, that you can adjust in the ad set, right? So you may say people who like Nike, right? Just to because I think the Nike interest on Facebook is probably I don't even know how many million it is. It's a lot of millions though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a large group, right? That may be too broad though, right? You may need to find something smaller, right? So say you're a what's a good example? Say you are a clothing company, right? An athletic brand, and you think people who are interested in Lululemon right, may be interested in your fitness brand because there's some similar characteristics, right? You may have a more higher quality, higher end fitness brand, and people who have Lululemon, that might be a smaller demographic of individuals that may
Right.
work better for your brand. But you want to keep trying new interests and make note of the interests that are working, right? Because you want to
Right.
keep using those. And then as far as behaviors, they have behaviors such as engaged shoppers, right? People who've recently purchased, people who've recently purchased with a coupon, business professionals. They have all these different interests and behaviors that you want to continue to, cycle through. You know what I mean? To see what's working and what's not. And as said, mentioned, this is ongoing. This does not stop. You need the success of your ability to gain new customers is dependent on this exercise. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? How
Absolutely.
effective you are at executing this exercise, right? Because the more and more you do it, the more you're funneling, right? That's why it's called a funnel, sales funnel. You're funneling people into the business, and then through that middle and bottom funnel, everybody's not going to purchase, but we just need a decent amount of them. If 5% of all the people you get to come through that funnel purchase, that is a very good conversion rate.
Yeah.
Um, Very good. So better your targeting, and then the last one is optimize your spending. And this is a good one, right? So based on your analysis, all of the data collection you do, you want to modify the amount of money that you're spending, right? Because there will get to a point where um throwing more money, throwing 50% more dollars don't equal 50% more sales. You know what I
Sales.
mean?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work like that. And you'll hit a point where you're seeing less and less return on your investment, right? So you kind of want to hit the sweet spot, right? And then you want to stay there and coast, right? And what I mean by stay there and coast is keep that, because you set your budget at the campaign level, very high level. You just want to stick to those numbers, but keep, changing out the interests and the behaviors and all of those things, but keep the cost the same. No. And then there may be situations where you increase costs because most businesses do very well during the holiday season, right? Because everybody's out shopping for gifts and a lot of things sell out. So people scramble and go buy random stuff that they normally wouldn't buy, right? So during the holiday season, you may want to boost that budget up a little bit to make yourself a little more seen by more individuals. And then you may want to change some of them ad creatives to be a little bit more festive, you know what I mean? And have language, for the holidays, you know what I mean? To
Holidays.
kind of
Yeah.
bring people in. So, there's exceptions to every rule, but the rule is, make sure you optimize that spending and don't just keep increasing because there's going to get to a point where you're going to plateau and that return on your investment is going to be negligible. So yeah, there we go. So continuously analyze, we said, cover, change your ad creative, and then better your targeting and optimize your spending. You want to hit us with the final
It
thoughts, sir?
is. Final thoughts. So, in today's fast paced and ever changing business landscape, it is essential to continuously create effective and impactful ad campaigns to stay at the top of mind of your consumers and remain relevant. By developing a deep understanding of your consumers' needs, you can maintain a competitive advantage and ensure long term success. As campaigns are key to communicating your brand's message, value, and uniqueness, it is beneficial to well execute your campaigns so that you can establish a presence within your market and position your business for more growth and opportunities, right? And so at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and you make the commitment to really wanting to position your brand and see your brand thrive and be successful, you're going to want to create effective ad campaigns, and you're going to want to do that to the best of your ability, right? Like you're going to want to learn everything that you can. And here's the thing about entrepreneurship and business. And I always say this, you don't know business until you know business. And in order for you to be an effective entrepreneur, in order for you to experience success within your company, in order for you to establish a brand that thrives and creates a significant impact, you're going to have to know your business. And I believe personally, you want to know every facet of your business. You want to know the marketing. You want to know the branding. You want to know the sales. You want to know the financial side of it. You don't have to know everything to a T, and you can always hire people or contract people who may be more experienced, but you definitely want to speak the language. You want to be able to have a very effective conversation with whomever it is that you're working with so they can know what your needs are. Okay, you're telling me that you need X, Y, and Z. Okay, I can help you with that. I can do this, that, and the other based off of what you're telling me. This is what you need. This is where you're struggling. This is what changes that you need to make. And Eric and I, we do it all the time. We both know our weaknesses and we know our strengths. And we know how to communicate this marketing thing together and what specifically needs to be done in order for us to experience success, in order for us to go through the process, in order for us to more effectively position ourselves and engage with people who are interested in our brand, right? And so it's imperative. Ad
And
campaigns.
we're in early stages
Yeah,
of um acquiring new customers right now, and we've made adjustments and we're seeing success, right? And y'all will see it as everything continues to grow, which is why this is beautiful. Now I've done this before already with other brands that have seen a lot of success where I was able to do crazy numbers with Black Buck. But yeah, so we're going through this process that we're talking about right now. There's one very important thing that we did not mention during this video, and in order for you to do those retargeting, right, to know who visits your website and who, added the cart and all that, you have to set up something called a Facebook pixel, or it may be called the meta pixel now, but it's a pixel. And all marketing or ad platforms have pixels that you can install. Like TikTok has a pixel, Snapchat has a pixel, Instagram has a pixel. I mean, Facebook has a pixel, which is also for Instagram. Google Ads has a pixel. We didn't get into that because that's a completely different conversation with setting it up. But once those are set up, that's how you take advantage of some of this. If you listen on Spotify, you won't be able to, or on the podcast, you won't be able to drop a message. But go to our YouTube page on the comment of this video and let us know if we should create a video or something going over pixels and how to set them up. It's pretty self-explanatory if you walk through, and there's millions of videos on YouTube going over it. But very important to mention that piece, because if somebody watches this and they go through and they're trying to set something up and they can't do it, they're gonna be like, "What's going on?" And it's probably because you don't have a pixel configured, right? But yeah, I just wanted to add that final note in there. Say, did you want to add anything
that's
else?
it, bro. I think we covered everything. We covered all the bases.
Hey, as always, we greatly appreciate everybody with however you consumed this information and this episode, and we look forward to continue to deliver more and more. Be sure to check out the Keep It Thorough website. And with all that said, if you don't do nothing else, keep
Keep
it
it
thorough,
thorough.
and we'll holler at y'all
No
next time.
doubt. Till next
Deuces.
time.